Dr. Williams and I are a little frustrated with your father, Ty.
We're crossing fingers for a match, but if he refuses treatment, he might be deemed as non-compliant.
You know you and Dad are sort of alike, right? You're both so stubborn.
You just watched a scene from The Harvest. It is a poignant movie about tradition, responsibility, and a strained father-son relationship. Actor Dua Moa, known for his roles in Gran Torino and Mulan, wrote the screenplay, and he stars in the film that's being called A Love Letter to Immigrants. He said he wanted to tell a universal story that provided a glimpse into his Hmong heritage, which is rare in Hollywood. Actor Perry Young plays Dua's ailing father in the film, and he joins me now. Perry, it's great to have you here on NBC News Daily.
Thank you so much, Vicky. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Perry, you said when you read the script, you thought this is every Asian American actor dreams about a script like this. What was it about the storyline that really drew you to the role?
Well, growing up in America, I've never seen an Asian father and son story on television or film in Hollywood. Never. So when I read the script, and I've been an actor on stage and film for 30 years, and early on in my career, I never thought this would happen. I never thought we'd win an award, Oscars with Everything Everywhere at Once. But when I read the script, I went, now we're here. Now I get to play these meaty roles, whereas 20 years ago, these didn't even exist. So yeah, incredible story. Nuanced story about a father and son that reverberates beyond Asian American culture.
You know, the film also touches on some generational trauma, and as you talk about a storyline that reverberates and resonates with people no matter what their cultural background, touch on that for me. Help me understand, you know, the intergenerational trauma that's depicted in this story and what you're hoping when people see it, what they'll feel.
Well, you know, Asian American immigrants are like any immigrants that come to this country, right? When you have the first generation, you have the parents that don't really understand the culture and they're just trying to make a living, right? They're trying to provide food and shelter. And then you have the second generation that sort of gets into whatever American culture is at that time, whether it's in the 1920s, 50s, 70s, 80s. We get into what that is because that's the information we get in the culture. Our parents are busy working and we don't get that. So we don't understand where our kids are going to when you're just trying to make a living. So I think this story sort of explores that and shows how, regardless of where you come from, it's a universal story about family.
Yeah, I talk about that too because your parents are growing up just trying to survive, and here you are sometimes immersed in two cultures, not knowing if you're enough in either one. Let's talk about your background in Hollywood. I think it's so fascinating because you originally came to New York and wanted to be a dancer. And then what happened, and how did you see Hollywood evolve?
Oh my God, that seems like a lifetime ago. Well, it is a lifetime ago. Well, I graduated from SF State with with an art degree, but I was really in the dance department more because dance was just so much more exciting than being in a studio with your paintings.
Sure.
Because it was it was communal. So when I got to New York City, I realized, oh my God, I'm auditioning with some of the best dancers in the world. These people have been training since they were 5 years old. What am I thinking, you know? So I didn't get any auditions for the first 6 months. I thought I was going to call it quits. But I got into one audition that was a multimedia performance art called Havoc in Gold Mountain about Chinese in America. And it was like, oh my God, I'm telling the story through movement, dance, music. And so it was my step into theater. They cast me as a lead. And I went, oh my God, I better start learning how to act, you know? But that led to people seeing me and going, oh, you're an actor. And I went, well. So eventually I got into the stage through dance and transferred into the stage and found that, you know, at that time, this was the early 90s, there was nothing for Asian American men on television. So I dropped out of trying to audition for television, stayed on the stage, and 10 years went by. And I saw the culture of Hollywood change. I saw my friend Daniel Day Kim on Lost. I saw Justin Lin's Better Luck Tomorrow film. And I went, Asian Americans are now making a dent. Lucy Liu on Elementary. And so my oldest was 10 at the time, and I started to have time, mental space to go back into acting. And it was just the perfect timing. I was a father. I aged out of those sort of like gang roles, you know, into like a father role. And lo and behold, Hollywood kind of opened up. And so I saw the culture change.
Still a long way to go, but we are so glad you're back in it. Perry Young, thank you for being here on Daily today. The film is called The Harvest. It is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, and YouTube. Stay right there. You're watching NBC News Daily.